Distortion of reality, general information. Perception can be defined as our recognition and interpretation of sensory information. We can also include how we respond to information. We can think of perception as a process where we take in sensory information from our environment and we use that information to interact with it. The distortion of reality is a conscious or unconscious construction of an event in which one participates directly or indirectly, thus affecting the body's senses and causing the brain to generate its own reality.
Distortion. We choose this name because it seems to us that it is the most concrete way to represent a distortion in reality. As we saw in the Explore apart, one of the clearest examples was the rotating tunnel, which consisted of a small immobile bridge surrounded by a kind of rotating cylinder, with lights and mirrors inside. This was a distortion of reality, because our bodies were not moving, but our bodies were moving around. Our eyes, perceiving that information that we are moving, send signals to the brain, and automatically the brain makes our body lean to one side, trying to stabilize, making us feel that we fall. With this, we can deduce that our brain creates its own reality from information it received from the eyes. Therefore, a way to avoid this distortion is closing our eyes, because if we turn off these senses, our brain stops receiving that information and is not confused.
Oh, wow!
So, we learn about how the brain can be fooled by some illusions, thanks mainly to this of sight, which show us that the human body relies too much of its senses, although we don't always really see or perceive what is really happening. We learn these things as we went through the different activities we could witness in the park, like the dark room that gives us the feeling that you are dead, or the room that gave the effect that you were upside down. The learning was not really complicated because they were activities that made us fun, and the subject was not really very extensive. In the future, we could use what we learned in various ways. For example, not to trust first thing we detect and explore some a little bit more before making sure it is real, or simply to be able to talk about the subject in a more extensive way at any time is required. A very clear example of distortion in reality can be this image, in which at first sight, thanks to our eyes, we can see different elements, such as a pair of pigeons, a palm tree, and some birds. However, the image goes much further, because our brain, when processing and putting all together these elements, realizes that the information it received a moment ago was false in a way, because at the time of seeing the reality changes and makes the element obtain the shape of an elephant. It completely changed the perception of the reality that we had so clear at the beginning.